Welcome back, everyone. At this hour, a federal judge is hearing a new challenge to the Trump administration's policy of deporting people under the Wartime Alien Enemies Act. Now, this comes as a different judge has ordered the Department of Homeland Security to provide evidence against detained pro-Palestinian protester Mahmoud Khalil today by 5 p.m. or she'll drop the case. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez is tracking these stories for us. Camilo, what arguments are being made this morning concerning the administration's use of the 18th Century Alien Enemies Act?
Good morning, Errol. Earlier in the week, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to continue using this wartime law dating back to the 18th century to deport certain Venezuelan migrants accused of being part of this transnational Tren de Aragua criminal gang. But the Supreme Court also instructed the administration to give detainees who are at risk of being expelled under this wartime authority legal notice so they can contest their detention and potential deportation in federal court. And they also instructed the ACLU, which filed the challenge against this law and this proclamation by the president, to file lawsuits in the individual districts where the plaintiffs, the migrants who are affected by this policy, are being detained. And that is what the ACLU has done. It has filed lawsuits in New York and also in Texas. And there's a hearing today in New York to oversee this new lawsuit challenging the detention of plaintiffs who the ACLU says could be expelled under the Alien Enemies Act, and also to seek a nationwide injunction, a new one, against any removals under this 18th century law.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that the Supreme Court said this is really an issue of standing, that the people didn't bring these cases from the right places. They haven't really ruled on the merits yet. In the case of Mahmoud Khalil, he was arrested by ICE in his apartment at Columbia University. What happens if the Department of Homeland Security cannot meet this new 5 p.m. deadline set by a judge yesterday to prove that the government had evidence that he needed to be deported?
Well, Errol, just to level set, the Trump administration is citing two legal grounds to argue that Mahmoud Khalil should be deported from the U.S. The first one they are citing is a little-known law that allows the Secretary of State to determine that a non-citizen and their presence here in the U.S. is detrimental to the foreign policy interests of the country, and so can be deported from the U.S. The second ground that the administration is citing is they are alleging that Mr. Khalil did not disclose certain information on his green card application about his employment in certain groups. For example, the British Embassy in Beirut and also the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Now this judge in Louisiana at the Justice Department immigration court system is asking the administration to present concrete evidence, Errol, to prove these two grounds of deportation. But she said yesterday that if the government fails to do so, she will order Khalil release and remove him from that deportation proceeding.
Which would be a remarkable development to have that case thrown out, if that's the case. Well, we'll keep connecting with you, Camilo, and listen to this story closely. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Errol.